The Atorica echo, reaction, in the modern history of East Africa. Silence is rarely just an absence of sound. More often, it functions as a language of its own, measured, deliberate, and deeply intentional. For nearly a decade, Ethiopia's cultural landscape existed within such a silence. Following his 2017 landmark project, Teddy Afro, known formally as Tedros Kassahan, withdrew from the public creative space. Yet his absence was not emptiness. It was presence in another form, echoing through memory, debate, and anticipation. During those 9 years, his name did not fade. It expanded. On April 16, 2026, that silence gave way to a sudden and overwhelming resurgence. The release of Atorica marked more than the return of an artist. It marked the reactivation of a national conversation. Within hours, the project amassed tens of millions of views, cutting through the noise of a fragmented digital age and commanding a unified moment of attention. At Africa Press, the focus has not been on the musical composition itself, but on the magnitude of its impact. The interest lies in the phenomenon, the boundary often referred to as the red line, where art intersects with governance, identity, and collective memory. To observe the public response to Atorica is to witness a society engaging in reflection. Across thousands of voices, one pattern becomes clear: the music is not being consumed passively. It is being interpreted, examined, and, in many cases, treated as testimony. In the opening track, Das Tal, Public Discourse consistently identifies a tone of mourning. Listeners describe it not simply as a song, but as a shared language for grief, an articulation of displacement, uncertainty, and unresolved identity. In this context, the music operates less as entertainment and more as a vessel for expression where formal channels have remained silent. Across the album, this pattern repeats. In tracks such as Yiyazo Amba, audience interpretations frame the work as historical narration, delivered not through official records, but through melody and metaphor. Where institutions speak in declarations, the artist is perceived to speak in memory. This has led many observers to adopt a striking characterization, that of a cultural archivist. The question of his enduring influence inevitably follows. Why has this figure maintained such a profound connection with the public? Analysis of audience sentiment suggests that the answer lies not in a single factor, but in a convergence of perceptions. The first is resilience. Over time, the artist has cultivated an image of persistence, remaining present even in absence. The second is inclusivity. Through the integration of multiple languages, Amharic, Afan Oromo, and Tigrinya, the music is received as an attempt to construct a shared national narrative across diverse identities. The third is integrity. Listeners consistently express the belief that the message remains unaltered, regardless of shifting political or social climates. This perception of authenticity appears central. In songs like Semamine, often interpreted as an exploration of spiritual longing, and Jember, widely associated with renewal and transition, the response remains consistent. The audience does not merely hear the music, they trust it. This trust transforms the listening experience into something more participatory, more personal, and more enduring. Observers have also noted the artist's reported decision to move away from traditional distribution structures, an act interpreted as a pursuit of creative and economic autonomy. This independence mirrors the behavior of the audience itself. Faced with technical barriers or digital limitations, engagement does not decline. It intensifies. In this dynamic, the red line shifts in meaning. It is no longer seen solely as a boundary of risk, but as a space of engagement, a point where truth, perception, and expression converge. Within a global environment often shaped by division and algorithmic isolation, the 18 tracks of Atorica appear to function as a rare common ground. They create a shared listening space where voices from across the diaspora and within the country intersect. Differences do not disappear, but they coexist within a single conversation. As the project continues to circulate, its impact is measured not only in numbers, but in dialogue. Discussions emerge across platforms, communities, and generations. Questions are raised, interpretations evolve, the music becomes a catalyst. At Africa Press, the final observation remains grounded in this ongoing exchange. In an era defined by fleeting trends and compressed attention spans, the resonance of Atorica persists. Whether the artist is regarded as a musician, a commentator, or a symbolic figure within a broader historical narrative, one conclusion remains consistent. Teddy Afro continues to occupy a singular space, one where art reflects society, and society, in turn, reflects itself. The record, as always, remains open, and within the 18 tracks of Atorica, the question endures: which version of the story is being heard? In the continuing discourse surrounding the release of Atorica, the public conversation has not remained unified. While one segment of the audience interprets the work as a cultural mirror and a national reflection, another segment, particularly voices emerging from various Oromo intellectual circles, students, artists, and political commentators, has expressed a different reading of its narrative direction. In these discussions, the central point of divergence is not merely musical taste, but interpretation of historical framing, identity representation, and the role of artistic authority in shaping collective memory. Within this atmosphere of interpretation and counter-interpretation, the name of Teddy Afro remains central. His work continues to be widely analyzed not only as art, but as commentary. However, the responses it generates illustrate a broader complexity within Ethiopian public discourse, where music often functions as a parallel space for historical and political reflection. In several public forums, social media platforms, and academic discussions, concerns have been raised by some Oromo voices and other community observers that certain artistic narratives may emphasize particular national perspectives while leaving others underrepresented or differently interpreted. These discussions do not form a single unified position, but rather a spectrum of critique, reflection, and counter-reflection. It is within this environment that a contrasting artistic response has also emerged. Shortly after the heightened discourse surrounding Atorica, a collaborative musical work titled Galmee Seenaa was released by Gelana Garomsa Yosan Getahun. The project has been widely circulated in Oromo music spaces and digital platforms, where it has been interpreted by many listeners as an alternative narrative contribution to ongoing cultural and historical discussions. Rather than being positioned explicitly as a direct response, public interpretation in online discourse has framed Galmee Seenaa as part of a broader continuum of artistic dialogue. In this reading, the work exists alongside other major musical narratives, offering a different emotional and historical lens through which audiences engage with questions of identity, memory, and national experience. Across social media platforms, this parallel circulation of narratives has intensified engagement. Comment sections, discussion threads, and live streams reflect a dynamic environment where music is no longer consumed in isolation, but debated as part of an ongoing cultural negotiation. In this space, listeners often move between admiration, critique, agreement, and reinterpretation within the same conversation. Observers at Africa Press note that this phenomenon is not unique to a single artist or album. Rather, it reflects a broader reality of contemporary Ethiopian digital culture, where artistic works rapidly become focal points for wider societal discussion. Music, in this context, becomes an extension of public discourse itself, an arena where history, identity, and perspective intersect. Within this layered environment, Teddy Afro's work continues to be widely referenced, while at the same time other musical voices contribute alternative interpretations of similar themes. The coexistence of these perspectives does not necessarily imply consensus or opposition, but rather demonstrates the multiplicity of ways in which audiences engage with cultural production. What becomes evident is that the conversation surrounding Atorica has extended beyond the album itself. It has become part of a larger ecosystem of expression, where different communities articulate their understanding of history and identity through music. In this evolving landscape, no single narrative fully dominates the discourse. Instead, multiple narratives exist simultaneously, sometimes aligning, sometimes diverging, and often intersecting in unexpected ways.
ያገር ካባ ለብሶ የመንደር ሰባኪ መልአክ መስሎ መጣ የሬሳ አምላኪ የከፈት መዝገቡ ታሪካችን ይታይ አገር ማን ገነባ ማን ነውና ገዳይ ባንዳ አገር ሲሸጥ ባልቻ በጉራዴ ለይተን እንወቅ ጀግናና ነጋዴ ለሀገሩ ብሎ ሕይወቱን የሰዋ ይመስክር ታሪኩ ይናገር አድዋ ምን ያረጋል ወሬ ቃላትን መደርደር ሞትም አልፈራንም ወርቀናል ለሀገር አፈር እየላሰን አበቃል ለበርገር እኛ ያቀናነው ገና ታብባለች ጨፍላቂዋ ሀገር እውነትም ሞታለች ጨፍላቂዋ ሀገር እውነትም ሞታለች